Everybody, welcome back. It is, geez, what is it? Wednesday, the 15th of April, and we're here with another of our Stay Connected series. We've got Peter Nola, who's got, God damn, I don't know, what is it, 14 years now of experience in sales?
Yeah, something like that. 14 odd years. Yep, selling businesses.
Marketer of the Year for ABC Businesses 5 times.
Something like that. Yep.
Right, and on the other end of the scale, we've got Raj Brij, who is more recent to the business broking game, but what I love about Raj is he's got such a massive background in finance, which is definitely an asset when it comes to preparing your business for sale, or when he's working on your behalf, looking at the books and helping you actually negotiate a decent value on a business when you're actually looking to acquire something, and just giving good, solid, general business advice. And right now, it is good, solid, general business advice that we need more than ever, with the uncertainty in around business, the number of businesses that are going to thrive, and those many that are going to not survive when it comes to the post-COVID sort of era. So I've got a bunch of talking points to go through, but before we do, I've given you a very quick intro. Maybe Peter will start with the elder statesman first. Do you want to give us the 2-minute spiel on who you are and what you're doing?
Sure. So ABC Business Sales, been there for 14 odd years, as you say, Market of the Year, whatever that was, 4 or 5 times. Sold lots and lots of businesses over that time, pretty much seen every kind of business that you can imagine. My specialty area is in the primary stuff, import, distribution, manufacturing, service, that kind of stuff. And that's what I like to specialize in. I don't do a lot of food. We've got a separate division that does the food and drink stuff. So I stay mainly in the general side of things.
Awesome. And Raj?
Yeah, so I'm a business broker with Kakapo Business Sales. We're a boutique business brokerage house with about a team of 8. So head office is in Auckland, but we sell businesses nationwide. I specialize in import, distribution, manufacturing. So that's my background. And then, do other business as well. I've got a pub at the moment on my list. I've got then mortgage, insurance, professional services books, and also look at other various industries. I don't really personally focus too much on hospitality. But yeah, have a general idea around that. So my background has come from a finance and accounting background, working in a big 4 accounting firm, and then commercial for about 17 years. Mm-hmm. So 8 years of that, I was heavily involved in acquisitions of small to medium-sized businesses, and creating cost efficiencies, and just making them run smoother.
Fantastic. Now, neither of you tend to specialize in hospitality. There doesn't seem to be much around tourism. There may be a few of those businesses coming on the market in the not too distant future. Looking at where we're coming out of this thing at the moment, somebody quoted, I think it was John Key actually a few weeks ago, said at the moment, there are about 30% of the businesses are in lockdown, unable to trade, unable to do anything, and they are going to be massively impacted by the lockdown. There's about a third of businesses that are partially trading and able to carry on offering partial services, and another third are classified as essential services and the such like, and they are pretty much business as usual, but in a slightly constrained way. So not just tourism, hospitality, as we've seen recently, there is going to be a huge number of businesses that are impacted when it comes to cash flow and the things like that. That those people that were thinking about potentially exiting in a few years' time may think now is the time to look at that. So what areas do you see that there may be more businesses coming on the market and owners that are looking to potentially exit? Either of you.
Okay. Peter, you can go first.
Oh, the bus.
Oh, yeah, thanks for that.
Oh, I can go.
Look, I don't think this lockdown and the way the economy is going to change the fundamentals about business sales. I mean, when you buy a business, you're looking for future maintainable earnings. And irrespective of what the 6, 8, 10, whatever the period weeks are in COVID lockdown, a buyer's going to look at a business and go, what's going to happen from the day I buy it going forward? Now, if the fundamentals of that business are sound, you can point to 6 weeks of no trade, low trade, whatever. But if they're servicing good clients, if they've got good supply, all those sort of things, then the business is going to have good value and will probably, it's a bit of a guess, I suppose, but will probably have a similar sort of value as what it had, 3 months ago. So I think it's all about how the business is trading, what the future maintainable earnings are. And sure, there's no doubt businesses are going to take a hit, but it's an artificial hit. It's not a like the GFC was, which there was no money out there were no customers. It was a different situation. This is a pretty artificial situation. Sure, it's worldwide, but I still think the fundamentals of good business are there.
I think best time to sell a business is when the business is doing well, and when the business is doing well, you'll achieve the price that you actually want for the business. The fundamentals around that also is just making sure there are a few businesses that have actually prospered. There's been a lot of opportunities out there merging around e-commerce. There's been online platforms. So there, some businesses will actually go up, grow in value, and obviously the profitability is is one of the key essence of what the business is worth. But there's other reasons for selling businesses as well. There'll be business owners that are looking to retire. They'll be they'll have personal health reasons, and just may potentially be looking at not really wanting to go through the next few years, another cycle of downturn. So, and these are the times where, there are opportunities.
Yeah, I would have to say though, for those in and related to hospitality and tourism, this is definitely a real situation. When, hospitality, $16 billion industry, nearly 6% of our GDP, that's a lot of money that's not floating around that could potentially impact not just tourism, but hospitality and events and things like that as well. So that cash flow conundrum is very, very real in many industries that are coming out of this. So all that aside, what is the advice that you would give to business owners that are looking for not just business owners, anybody that's looking to potentially acquire a business right now?
Number one point would be get your finance ready. Know what your budget is, how much you can spend, and just get a good accountant, good lawyer. So because when you go through the process, it will happen quite quickly, because there will be businesses coming up, and there might be some, especially around certain industries, where businesses will need to be acquired quickly and settled quickly.
Yeah, look, there's always going to be opportunities in a situation like this. It'll throw up opportunities, and those that are brave will take advantage of it. But again, back to fundamentals. The banks will have plenty of money. They don't make any money unless they lend money, but they're not going to lend money on a speculative or silly venture. So the fundamentals have to be there. It still has to be solid business, and you still have to have the appropriate ability to fund it. And I agree, they'll need to know your budget. You'll need to have all your ducks in a row, all your advisors there, and certainly funding in place. But there will be definitely opportunities for sure.
It also depends on your experience as well, I think, as a business buyer. It'll be quite critical, because banks will be a bit risk averse to first-time buyers, especially depending on the type of business that you're looking at buying. So just with your experience, your industry skill set, you just need to just make sure that what you present to the banks or other financial institutions is up to spec.
No, that's where your advisors come in. You get good advice, present a good package to the bank, and you're halfway there.
Absolutely, and I think, I'd love to get your both your takes on this. I've got a definite viewpoint on it. And you touched on it, Raj, that difference between an existing business that's looking to acquire, to grow, to do a bit of a roll-up, versus somebody that has potentially been made redundant and has got a bit of cash in their back pocket, and they're looking for an opportunity because there aren't necessarily a huge amount of jobs on the market. What is a business that I can acquire to set myself up for the future? What are those? What's that? I think there's two very, very distinct different pieces of advice there, and the banks will treat them very differently as well.
Oh, they definitely will, but different buyers have different motivations. So if I'm going out to buy a business because I want to secure my income, maybe I think I'm going to be made redundant, or I've got a package coming, whatever. My evaluation of that opportunity is going to be completely different from a company looking to absorb that same business into them. And so motivation's different, the valuation methodology will be different, and likely the price paid will be different. And then that goes back to the bank. The bank is going to be certainly a lot keener to fund an acquisition from a company than they are to fund me popping out of whatever job I've got and going, gee, I think I can run that business. So all of that's going to impact on the sale, I guess, on the price paid and on the funding.
Yeah. Yeah, with acquisitions, there's always, you pick up a company, you'll create shared service platforms, you'll restructure, you'll create efficiencies, and hopefully increase the profitability as well. So those are the things that, banks are attracted to. Also, if you're already an existing business and you're profitable, you've got good transactional history, businesses like banks and like those types of clients. And if you're in a growth phase, it's win-win situation. So that will be, is what Peter said. It's totally different. The valuation of the businesses will be dependent on the type of buyer.
Can you explain? Because I'm sure that there are some people here, and feel free. There's been a couple of comments in the chat. If you do have any specific questions, feel free to ask them in the Q&A. And we'll do our best to get back to them as quickly as we can as well. Can you maybe drill down into that in regards to how it will be looked at differently, and the way that the valuations could potentially done between an acquisition versus somebody coming in to buy a business to secure a future for themselves?
Yeah, so I guess it also depends on the level of investment there. And Peter, just jump in when you, if you feel need to. So it just depends on the type of business, the value of the business. If you've got one man coming into to do the investment, it's a $5 million investment. You're probably there's a lot higher risk. Whereas if you've got a business turning $5 to $10 million a year turnover, it's got good net profit returns, good ROIs, and they've already got the infrastructure in place to absorb the business. Your risk is almost halved, if you know what I mean. It's just it's you can see a lot more chances of the business going forward. I'm talking about a distressed business that has gone through an acquisition. So it's so those are the ones that and some of these distressed businesses are not poor bad businesses. They've got good customer base. They've got good social media presence. They've got good suppliers relationships. So it's just just at that time, at this moment in time, they've probably got a bit heavy on the debt side. They don't have enough cash flow to carry on and just continue with the growth phase, or survive for the next 12 months with the current COVID-19 impact. So these are the type of businesses where it will be a lot harder for for somebody that's just come out of a corporate role and is looking to do an investment and, you know, make a living for himself, to acquire those businesses. So it'll be a very fine line with the types of businesses there are at the moment. There'll be types of businesses that will just carry on. There's not too much impact on sales, because there's non-essential businesses and essential businesses at the moment, and essential businesses are still carrying on and making profit at the moment. So I mean, there's a lot of help in the community. They're you know, quite active, but also at the same time, there's, you know, it's hopefully business as usual. But yeah, but there's others that, yeah, will just be a little bit, it will take some time to get it up and running again. And at this stage, it's very hard to gauge whether it's going to be 12 months, 24, 36 months before, you know, everything comes back to the normal period, which is a few months ago to, you know, 12 months ago.
Cool.
Businesses are a bit like people. You know, sometimes two people don't get on, they get married, they get divorced. It's the same with a business owner. It can be a perfectly good business, but perhaps it doesn't get on well with that current business owner. So another owner comes along with better skills and a better knowledge of that environment, and they thrive where the previous owner was perhaps struggling. And I think when you're looking at acquisitions, for funding, especially, banks will look at what you've got, they'll look at what you're adding on to that, and they'll go, well, hell, that's a great marriage, that things are going to work really well. So they'll jump in and they'll you know, fund the proverbial out of it. Whereas a buyer comes along who's had no experience in that industry but thinks he might want to try it, and the banks are going to be very wary with their funding. And that often dictates the price as well. As brokers, you know, we can talk a good talk and paint a wonderful blue sky and get people who want to buy it, but the reality is it's still got to stack up and be a good business proposition. And that's kind of where the reality test of the banks and the funding comes in.
Absolutely. And from the many moons ago that I was in the private equity area, for me, I look at this is the opportunity for many businesses to get some absolutely fantastic growth doing roll-ups and acquisitions, because many a profit has been made through acquiring businesses that are in distress, absorbing some of the head office cost, streamlining the businesses down, sharing services. And that goes straight, every dollar saved is a dollar to the bottom line in those businesses when you can add value to system, structure, process, strip out excess cost. I think any smart businessman that's got a bent for growth right now and some good solid backing behind them should seriously consider looking at their competition, looking at seeing who's in distress potentially, or even if they're not in distress, who is potentially just nervous. And I'm a big fan of the saying that there is no such thing as a merger. There's always an acquisition, because you can't have two heads.
No.
It's got to be a dominant partner in there somewhere. It just has to be.
Yeah.
I think now is a great time to be looking around, looking at the competition, looking at the opportunities in the market, and potentially also looking at where you have to date had some holes or some gaps in the service offerings that you've got for your existing client base, that you can bring other companies in to fill those gaps, whether that's through an acquisition or a JV, preferably through an acquisition. And then, of course, I'd say go and talk to your friendly business broker and see if they can come on board and help it all come together.
Absolutely.
The relevance of your previous P&L post-COVID, when you're looking to either acquire or sell the business, because like you said, this might be a 6, 8, 10, 12 week period of little to no trading, and then potentially a number of months afterwards of the lower activity. As a business broker, how are you going to be approaching the market and looking at those things? And maybe, Raj, from your finance background, you might have some insights here as well and some thoughts.
The conversations I'll be having is just making sure that the critical thing at the moment for businesses is to know where the cash position is.
Mm-hmm.
So do some cash flow projections. Know what's what's in the bank, what's forecasted to be coming in. So, and this all depends if your customers are, are they going to be there in 6 months or 12 months time? So, so I'd be doing. So just having the conversation with the with my clients, and just are you taking all the steps? Just having that conversation with your suppliers, your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Get some. What's your terms and conditions looking like for your account of your credit accounts? So this is your so the business's customers. What's the terms and conditions? If they're on the 20th of every month, they just have the conversation about what your accounts receivable looks like, and are they okay to carry on paying? Because I'd say probably what the 20th of April is going to look a lot different to last month or the months before. It's just the way it is. So it's just making sure, is there continuity? So, and also with suppliers as well, having that conversation. So it's just from my background, that's the sort of conversations I'll be having with my clients. Just making sure that we're because not here to just sell the business, just making sure that they're doing the things that they should be aware of and be doing right now. Mm-hmm. So business continuity plan, cash flow projections. A TEED, Auckland Regional Partner of Regional Business Partner Network, has got a facility available for businesses if they're eligible, up to $2,000 it is for business continuity, cash flow projections, a little bit of help around the marketing. So there's some facilities available there, and there's a few other grants and subsidies that's available as well. So I can, if anyone wants more information, feel free to email me. I can send that information through. But there's a lot of things. I think it's not just one person doing it. It's just all of us collectively. Actually, if we are relaying the message out to SMEs and having conversations with the business owners, it's just the awareness, just making sure all your ducks are in a row. What are your financials looking like? Have you got last couple of years financials ready? What does your management account look like right now? Have you reconciled everything up to 31st of March? Your cash coming in, cash going out of your bank statements, is it all updated into your accounting system? And then it's just, there's quite a few different areas. Yep. Your fixed asset register, because it's just, you just don't know. Just make sure that you know what your business is worth in case you had to have an exit strategy. And if it was 6 months time, 12 months time, or tomorrow. And
Peter, I'm sure you have seen time and time again those biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to preparing their business for sale or in and around declared profit versus taking cash out and things like that. So those fundamentals haven't changed. How about you run through some of those for us now, because I shake my head time and time again when I see some of these things happening.
Yeah, look, those fundamentals haven't changed. And it always amazes me the way you'll go in and you'll value a business and the owner will say, oh, look, it's worth a heap more because of all the cash I take. And you go, well, hang on a minute, why are you taking the cash? Oh, well, I don't want to pay the tax and I don't want to do this. But we value businesses as a multiple of profit. So in a very, very simple scenario, if you're making $100 and the multiple is 3, your business is worth $300. Now, the multiple varies depending on industries and all sorts of other things. But effectively, that $1 turns into 3 on the price. So you're going to pocket $1, save 28 cents in tax, and that's going to cost you $3 on the purchase price, because no buyer is going to believe that you are taking money out. So it's really important before you go to sell a business for probably a year, not much longer than that, maybe 18 months, don't take any cash. Run everything through the P&L.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you've got 6 kids with cell phones and you're running 15 cars because, your uncle, your mother and your neighbor all want a car, get all that out of there and run the accounts as clean as you can. So a buyer looks at it and it paints a very, very simple picture for them. And that, because those buyers look for uncertainty, and uncertainty makes them nervous. Though if everything's clean, the picture is simple, the buyers will pay top dollar. The minute they get a little bit confused, a little bit worried, or they think you're trying to pull the wool over their eyes, they get nervous. All they can do is penalize you on price. They'll go, I still want to buy the business, but I'm not going to pay what you're asking for. So it's really important to talk to guys like Raj and myself and sit down, put a plan in place, run those accounts clean, get your systems ready, and just, it's like when you sell a house, you paint it, you clean the gutters, and you wash the paths. Well, you do the same kind of thing with the business, and you make it so people look at it, it's simple, it's easy, and away you go. You'll get the price you want, generally.
A good tax man would say you should be doing that every day.
Yeah, probably. Probably. But that's the problem is, people pocket the cash and then they want a buyer to believe they're not lying to them. Oh, I'm lying to the government, but I'm not lying to you, and it doesn't work like that. You can only steal the money once,
Yeah. You lose all credibility there.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've definitely seen have a solid impact on the purchase price is well documented systems, structures, and processes. If you can make yourself redundant in the business, it makes that acquisition process a hell of a lot easier, and it provides a lot more confidence to the buyers coming in.
You look at McDonald's for that. It's a multi-million-dollar business run by hormonal teenagers, effectively. So they go back to the manual. They look at the manual. This is how it works. That's great. Now, if you can get your business, maybe not to that extreme, but if you can get your business documented like that, then again, a buyer looks at it and goes, well, that's simple. I can do that. And away you go. You're already halfway there. But if you've got it all sitting in your head, the buyer sits opposite you and looks at the owner and goes, oh, he's a smarter man than I am. They'll never buy the business. They'll only ever buy the business if they think they can do it. And to do that, they have to think they're smarter than the seller. Hence, you've got to have all that documentation.
Yep. Or if they think that they have to keep you in the business for longer, that's risk to them as well.
Well, it's a cost as well. So again, instead of making the money they thought they're making, suddenly they're paying you to stay in the business. They're making a whole lot less than what they wanted. And then the valuation methodology doesn't add up either at that point.
For sure.
Yeah. And again, with the documentations, even having a strategic plan, if you're a business that's looking for growth, looking at strategic plans with this 30, 60, 90-day plan out to 1, 3, 5-year plans, those are quite critical because those add value, because it's a roadmap for where you see the business to be going. And ultimately, if you're selling that business, if you're having that conversation with the interested buyer, you can actually, it provides them with a lot more clarity and understanding on, okay, right, if I was to buy this business, okay, these are the things, this is the roadmap for it. Obviously, it's a dynamic plan, especially when you start going 3 to 5 years out, but it's still, you've got a core plan that you can stick to. And also just making sure that, you've got your strategic plan, but you know what you're selling. What are the opportunities out there? What's your competitors doing? Do a little bit of competitor analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you are providing this, when you are getting the business ready for sale, it's clear cut information out there that this is what you're getting, and this is what you need to do to continue to grow it.
For sure.
And,
I'm glad you brought up the Regional Business Partner Program with NZTE and in Auckland. That's facilitated through AT. We're one of the partners in that, and so we are regularly helping businesses come up with strategic plans, marketing plans. We have an accelerator program where they will come in for a 90-day period, completely look at their full business plan, the marketing that they're doing, fortnightly coaching sessions, and 50% of that is funded by the government, which is fantastic. And at the moment, they are doing 100% funding for those things that you were talking about before, Raj. They'll pay up to $2,000 towards someone in the accounting field to look at your cash flow and your finance, for business continuity plans, for health and well-being plans for your team, which sounds a bit warm and fuzzy, but right now, under these unusual circumstances, it's really, really critical that you have the right approach in regards to your HR. And it's, again, those are those systems and structures that if you have processed in your business, it helps on the other side when you're looking to position it to sell.
Yeah, anything that you can do that adds value to the business for the new owner. It's as simple as that. You know, if you can secure a contract, if you can renew your supply agreements, get all those things ready and ready to be transferred to a new owner, it just adds value, and it makes a new owner really keen to buy because they can see how simple it is.
Have you seen any supply agreements or contracts out there that have tripped people up when it comes to the sale of the business? When, if the business does sell, then those contracts are up for renegotiation or anything like that?
Yeah, yes is the short answer. A lot of those contracts do have transfer approval clauses in there. So yes, they can be transferred, but the supplier wants to approve that new owner, if you like. So you need to follow a separate process if that's the case. One of the first things that a broker should do before you even go to market is get a look at those things, understand them, find out what's going on. The vendor then needs to contact their suppliers and go, look, I'm thinking of going to market. Who should we be looking at? Who would you like? You know, what is the category or the type of person you're looking for, and that all helps us when we go to market to try and find the right buyer. Clearly, if it's an acquisition, it's less important, but if it's a new buyer fresh to the market, it's probably really important. But yeah, they can at the last moment they can actually kill a sale if you don't do the preparation way back at the very beginning.
And I think the key thing also there is communication. It's just when you include the supplier in that conversation from, you know, obviously once you're going through that phase, it's, you know, they feel part of it, and they actually, a lot of suppliers, if you've got a good relationship with them, they will want to make sure that you're, you know, you're actually selling the business. You know, the sale goes through, and you're going to the next phase. So
I've seen a number of occasions where suppliers have actually helped find purchasers.
Yeah.
Because they've got good people in their network.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one like that a couple of years ago, exactly that. We were going to go to market, we talked to the supplier, and the supplier said, well, we've had this guy approach us for our product, we really like him, maybe you should consider selling the business to him, and that's exactly what we did. So yeah, great advice that you've got to get to those suppliers early.
Fantastic. Any parting words? I normally try and keep these to half an hour, where we could talk for hours like this. I love talking about this sort of stuff, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Peter did share a document this morning, which I've shared also as well on LinkedIn, which is a fantastic document that ABC Business have put together around. And you want to explain it, Peter? It's just, you know, the things that you need to be thinking about in your business at the moment. It's not there to sell businesses. It's there to help businesses through this time, which I thought was a really good thing to do.
Yeah, it's simply that. It's where do I go to find this out? How do I find that out? What should I do when I'm talking to the bank? What do I need to get ready, and what do I need to get prepared because I'm going to talk to the bank? Maybe I want refinancing or whatever. So it's just simply a resource document, and it's things that all business owners should have a look at. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm happy to email out a copy. You can get in touch with me direct. You can get me via LinkedIn, whatever's easy for you. But if you want a copy, you're most welcome to it. Just let me know and I'll send it out.
Great stuff. What's your contact details, Peter?
You can get me on peterin@abcbusiness.co.nz, or you can call me 021 507 313.
Fantastic. And Raj, what's the best way to get hold of you at Kakapo, buddy?
Just Raj at kakapobusiness.co.nz.
Mm-hmm.
And my number is 021 386 212.
Fantastic. Hey, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time. There is certainly going to be some uncertain times coming up. There's going to be opportunities galore. And my only piece of advice on that for anybody is stay the course, treat business as usual, and stick to the fundamentals of doing good business, and the right things will end up happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the fundamentals don't change whether we're in a boom or a recession. You've got to run a good business, you've got to run it well, and you've got to do the basics right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Know your position, know where you're heading, and yeah, just fine tune it.
Brilliant. Hey, appreciate that, guys. I will get back in touch with everybody after this, and the replay of this will be up both on YouTube and on our website, and it will be posted through our social media channels as well. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate you taking the time, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. See you, Raj.
See you, Peter.